Jimin's eyes are wide, tracking every movement. He's no longer just a passive participant. He's an active void, waiting to be filled by the storm that is Jungkook. He arches his back, seeking that friction, his skin flushed a deep petal pink. Jungkook maneuvers himself, his knees prying Jimin's legs further apart, creating a space that Jimin fills instinctively. He's hovering over him now, a shadow of pure muscle and intent. He leans down, his teeth grazing the shell of Jimin's ear. One last time, a final mark of ownership before the real work begins. Everything you're feeling right now, Jungkook whispers, his voice dropping to a jagged low. That's because you belong to me. Every breath, every shiver. Remember that. Jungkook's hand slides down, finding the waistband of Jimin's sweats and pulling them low enough to expose the curve of his lower back. He pauses for a single, agonizing second, savoring the sight of Jimin trembling beneath him, the way his muscles ripple with a need so sharp it's almost painful. Jimin's fingers find the pillows, his head dropping back against Jungkook's shoulder as he lets out a long, shaky exhale. Please, he finally breaks, the word a soft, wrecked vibration. Jungkook, please, there he is, Jungkook murmurs, his grip tightening as he prepares to bridge the final gap. I thought I told you no more begging, but for this, I'll make an exception. The last thread of Jimin's restraint snaps. The please hangs in the air, thick and heavy, and Jungkook devours it. He moves with a sudden, predatory grace, shifting his weight to fully straddle Jimin's thighs, pinning him to the mattress. With the sheer force of his presence, Jungkook reaches for a small bottle on the nightstand, the soft click of the cap, sounding like a thunderclap in the charged silence. He doesn't take his eyes off Jimin, watching the way the older boy's pupils dilate, the way his chest heaves in shallow, panicked lunges for air. You're shaking, Jimin, Jungkook notes, his voice a low, melodic rumble. He pours a slick heat into his palm, the scent of sandalwood filling the space between them. Is it the cold? Or are you just that desperate to finally have me? Jimin can't answer. He can only press his face back into the pillow, a muffled, wordless sound escaping him as he feels Jungkook's slick fingers make contact. The touch is cold at first, a stark contrast to the fever pitch of their skin, but it quickly warms as Jungkook begins to prepare him with a slow, agonizing thoroughness. Jungkook is patient, cruelly so. He uses his free hand to massage the small of Jimin's back, grounding him even as he pushes him toward the edge. Every motion is deliberate, stretching the moment until Jimin is arching his spine, his heels digging into the mattress. In a silent plea for more, Jungkook leans down, his chest crushing Jimin's breath out of him, his mouth finding the sensitive junction where Jimin's neck meets his shoulder. He bites hard enough to leave a mark, soft enough to make Jimin moan. SHH, Jungkook murmurs against his skin, feeling the rhythmic twitch of Jimin's muscles. Stay with me. Don't go anywhere yet. Finally, the teasing stops. Jungkook discards the bottle and positions himself, his hands coming up to grip Jimin's shoulders, his thumbs digging into the muscle to keep him still. The air in the room feels thin, electrified. Look at me one more time, Jungkook commands. Jimin turns his head, his face flushed and damp with sweat, his eyes searching Jungkook's for a hint of mercy, and finding only a burning, bottomless hunger. You're mine, Jungkook declares, a statement of absolute fact. With a slow, steady surge, he pushes forward, bridging the final distance. Jimin's world narrows down to a single point of impact, a sharp, overwhelming fullness that makes his vision white out at the edges. A loud, broken cry rips from his throat, echoing off the walls as he finally, completely becomes Jungkook's. Jungkook groans, a deep, guttural sound of triumph, burying his face in Jimin's hair as he holds them both perfectly still for a heartbeat, letting the sheer intensity of the sensation settle into their bones. The game is over. The reality has begun. The stillness lasts only as long as it takes for their hearts to find a synchronized, frantic rhythm. Jungkook waits for Jimin's body to accommodate him, his muscles corded and trembling with the effort of holding back. He watches the way Jimin's fingers claw into the pillows, his knuckles white, his spine arched in a beautiful, painful curve of surrender. Once the initial shock softens into a heavy, pulsing ache, Jungkook begins to move. It's not fast, not yet. He pulls back slowly, nearly all the way, before surging forward again with a deliberate, grounding depth. God, Jimin, Jungkook hisses, the words strained through gritted teeth. He leans down, his sweat-slicked chest sliding against Jimin's back, creating a friction that makes Jimin's skin feel like it's catching fire. Jimin can't stay silent anymore. The learning is over. This is raw, unfiltered instinct. He lets out a series of short, hitching breaths that turn into broken sobs of pleasure. Every time Jungkook hits that specific, hidden depth, Jimin's toes curl and his head thrashes against the sheets. Jungkook's hands slide down from Jimin's shoulders, wrapping firmly around his waist to lift his hips higher, meeting every thrust with a ruthless precision. The sound of their bodies colliding, the soft, wet slaps, and the heavy bed frame groaning under the weight fills the room, drowning out the world outside. Jungkook reaches around, his hand finding Jimin's front, providing the friction Jimin so desperately needs. The dual sensation sends Jimin over the edge of sanity. Look at what you're doing to me. Jungkook groans, his pace quickening, losing that cool composure he'd held all night. He's no longer the calm collector. He's the storm itself. The tension in the room reaches a breaking point. Jungkook's movements become frantic, his breath coming in ragged, guttural growls. He buries his teeth in the meat of Jimin's shoulder, a final marking bite as his entire body goes rigid. Jimin's voice finally breaks into a high, melodic wail of Jungkook's name, a sound of pure, unadulterated release. He collapses into the mattress as his own climax hits him in waves, his muscles twitching uncontrollably under Jungkook's heavy, staggering weight. Jungkook follows him seconds later, a deep, shuddering groan vibrating through Jimin's frame as he pours everything he has into the boy beneath him. For a long time, the only sound is the harsh, labored breathing of two people who have pushed each other to the limit. Jungkook doesn't pull away immediately. He stays heavy and warm against Jimin, his face tucked into the crook of Jimin's neck, his heart hammering against Jimin's ribs. Slowly, almost tenderly, Jungkook kisses the spot he just bit, his hand sliding up to tangle in Jimin's damp hair. My Jimin, he whispers, the dominance replaced by a quiet, exhausted possessiveness. Stay right there. Don't move a muscle. And this time, Jimin doesn't stay still because he was told to. He stays because he has nowhere else in the world he'd rather be. The air in the room is heavy, thick with the scent of salt, sandalwood, and the cooling heat of their bodies. Jungkook remains draped over Jimin, a protective, crushing weight that anchors them both back to reality. Jungkook eventually shifts, sliding his arms under Jimin's chest to pull him backward, curling their bodies into a tight, spooning position. He doesn't let go. He keeps Jimin tucked against his chest, his chin resting on the crown of Jimin's head. As their breathing finally begins to level out, Jungkook's fingers, previously so firm and demanding, now trace idle, feather-light patterns over Jimin's stomach. It's a silent apology for the bruises that will surely bloom there tomorrow, and a quiet claim on the skin beneath his touch.